Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be doing the September fire alarm system test, so let's go ahead and get started. As you can probably tell on the system today, I have Cerberus Pyrotronics voice evacuation. These are the speaker strobes that I have up. This is the Cerberus Pyrotronics I-SM series. They're very distinctive because they have this interesting off-center strobe. If you look at it from the front, you'll notice that it has a very unconventional design. Not entirely sure why they chose to move the strobe off to the side like this. It looks kind of weird. I'm guessing it's because they wanted the audio quality to be better, because if you think of the speaker, since this strobe is so wide, it's basically like putting a piece of duct tape over the center of it. So they probably moved it off to the side to have some more exposure of the center. I'd imagine they didn't do this for aesthetic purposes, because if so, then I would imagine it wasn't very successful. But either way, that's what I have up for these speaker strobes. Down here, I have a Cerberus Pyrotronics RMS-1T. This is an RSG T-bar with the Cerberus Pyrotronics branding on it. These things are rebranded by everybody. Of course, like I said, RSG is the original manufacturer, but Siemens rebrands these now. Secutron, Hochiki, you name it. Everybody has their name on this thing. But this is a fairly uncommon device to see, because most of the time you'll see the plastic style. This is the style I'm referring to. There's a couple of these on the system today as well, but these metal pull stations were used in some cases, so I also have a couple of these. If we move on into the fire museum room, I have another one of these Cerberus Pyrotronics I-SM series speaker strobes, except this one, of course, is ceiling mount. You can see it's white. It has the ceiling mount lettering. Also, this one is off-center too. I'm not sure why. I thought that based on the pictures, the ceiling mount version would be symmetrical, kind of like that one, which the newer ones are. But no, this one's also just as off-center. So I guess it was a design choice for these older devices. Kind of interesting, very niche for sure. Next to it, I have a Cerberus Pyrotronics DI-3 conventional smoke detector. It looks just like an addressable version, but this one is conventional, so it does work on my system. If we go into the bathroom area, I have a remote strobe. This is just a Cerberus Pyrotronics remote strobe that is slightly older. So as you can see, the fire lettering is on the side. Wanted to keep a consistent theme here. And then next to it, I have a Cerberus Pyrotronics heat detector. This one does say Cerberus Pyrotronics on the back. Siemens, I think, started making these after they bought out Cerberus Pyrotronics, but I figured I'd put the heat detector in the bathroom, which is pretty standard. Over here, I have another Cerberus Pyrotronics DI-3 smoke detector. Rarely do I ever replace all the main area smoke detectors, but I thought, since I already have these, may as well keep the theme going for one last final system test here at home. And then by the far door over here, I have another one of these Cerberus Pyrotronics RSG T-bars. This one has the metal lift flap, so it's dual action, but it is the exact same pull station. Above it, I have a Cerberus Pyrotronics PE-11. This is another Cerberus Pyrotronics smoke detector, slightly newer than the other series, but it's also photoelectric. And then finally, on the far side of the basement, I have another one of these I-SM speaker strobes. As you can see, it's just as off-center. Here in the fire panel room, we have our notifier SFP-10UD. Next to it, I have one of these plastic pull stations. This is probably what you'd commonly see. It's just a Cerberus Pyrotronics pull station, dual action. Not too much to say about that. Above it, I have a remote strobe. This is a Cerberus Pyrotronics strobe, just like the one you saw in the bathroom. But wait, there's no speaker in here. No, relax. There is actually a speaker on the ceiling here. This is just a generic speaker. A lot of different companies rebranded this one. Gentex, Wheelock, Siemens. So it's kind of a one-size-fits-all, if you will, for many different themes. But this is serving as the audible device in here. Now, something you might notice about the Siemens, or actually older Cerberus Pyrotronics voice evacuation systems, is that the voice messages seem very choppy. So for example, between phrases, you might stop and say like, please leave the building by the nearest exit. The reason for that is I believe on the MXL systems, or whatever older systems generated those messages, there were different cards that you can put in for different phrases. So the pause is the transfer between each card. So you hear some of the more sophisticated messages are really, really choppy, but I guess that's one of the niche aspects of the Cerberus Pyrotronics systems. So let's go ahead and take a look in the garage. Out here in the garage, I have another one of these Cerberus Pyrotronics I-SM speaker strobes. Fun fact, this one is actually kind of bootleg. The speaker grill is Wheelock, but it's the same grill. And then the strobe came from a different Siemens device, but I attached it. It's basically exactly the same. The paint color is just slightly off. And then by the far door over here, I have another one of these off-center speaker strobes. And this one is the same as everything else. Down here, I have another plastic pull station. As you can see, It's the nice and standard one. It's basically the exact same as the one in the basement, just no push bar. Then outside, I have an Amsico SL-5 beacon strobe. It's just a red beacon, flashes 24 volts DC. And man, look at that. The leaves are changing already. Damn, summer's over. Before I test the system, I'm gonna go ahead and make a testing announcement. So I'm gonna plug my phone into the amplifier here. I have a microphone app, so let's make the announcement. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? The fire alarm system is currently being tested. Please disregard any signals you may see or hear throughout the building. Once again, the fire alarm system is being tested. Please disregard. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and activate the system. The classical music is to test the music shutdown feature.
Attention please. Emergency has been reported in the building. While this is being verified, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention please? Emergency has been reported in the building. While this is being verified, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention please? Emergency has been reported in the building. While this is being verified, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. Leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? Emergency has been reported in the building. While this is being verified, may I have your attention, please?
Nope. As you can see, these devices do not sync. These devices predate sync by just a little bit. I think these were manufactured 1 or 2 years before NFPA started requiring strobe sync. So they definitely go a little crazy. The nice thing about this pull station is you never lose the key because it's the only square key on my keyring. Here's the inside, that's the model, and also the key comes out like that. There we go. As you can see, the fire door did its job and automatically released when the fire alarm went off. It's not magic. There we go. Let's go ahead and do the next pull station. Let's go ahead and test this pull station. I've gone ahead and changed the tone and message.
Have your attention, please. May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been...
I'm gonna go ahead and test this smoke detector here. Unfortunately, with all of the Cerberus and Siemens devices, you can't really test them with any sort of test button. You need to use smoke. So I have my smoke saber here, and we're just gonna send a little bit of aerosol smoke up there. That should be plenty. These things are kind of sensitive. The next tone is also one that you've probably heard before. Oh, there it goes.
May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please exit in a orderly manner. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit in a orderly manner. Do not use the elevators.
There you have it, in a orderly manner. Again, that's probably like 4 different cards, and you kind of pick what you want. I mean, it's very customizable in that sense, but I guess when the software or whatever puts it together, it's kind of choppy. But that's old voice evacuation for you. Next up, let's test this smoke detector. Again, all of these need to be tested with aerosol smoke, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit this again. Man, this is like $2 worth of smoke. How am I going to recover from this? And this next message is the what I call the UCLA message, because all of the Siemens systems on campus play this exact tone and message for some reason. Let's try a different can smoke, because I don't really want to waste all my saber. Oh, there it goes.
May I have your attention, please? An alarm has been reported in the building. While this is being investigated, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? An alarm has been reported in the building. While this is being investigated, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? An alarm has been reported in the building. While this is being investigated, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
There we go. UCLA has a lot of Siemens voice evacuation systems, and that's the message of choice for a lot of them. Not entirely sure why they chose that script, but I guess it's kind of niche. Also, a lot of these messages you might notice are a little worse quality. That's because a lot of them are reclaimed from the internet. It's really hard to find actual voice evacuation messages that are factory grade. So in a lot of cases, you got to scour the internet and purify them in some way. So hopefully you're enjoying this video. But let's go ahead and reset the system. I'm going to go ahead and test this heat detector in the bathroom. I have a hair dryer, so I'm just going to blow this straight at the detector. The tone and message is going to be the modern Siemens tone with the female message. Fun fact, this was actually recorded at the Providence Place Mall. The fire alarm went off, and after I was done filming, I just held my phone up to one of the speakers in a back hallway and got a decent recording. So here we go. There it goes.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
Yeah, that system actually used these exact speaker strobes and these exact metal pole stations. In fact, I'll try and include a clip here, but that's what this system plays. Originally, it probably didn't play that tone because these are older Cerberus Pyrotronics devices that were probably part of an MXL system, but it's replaced with a newer Siemens panel, and that's what it plays now. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and test this pole station right here. The system is now going to play a standby tone and message. So push here, then pull down.
Please stand by for further information. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been an emergency reported in the building. Please stand by for further information. May I have your attention, please?
Nope. I think that might also be a newer Siemens tone and message, but either way, it's pretty common for these systems to get a Siemens migration. Let's go ahead and reset the system. Oh wait, I did not reset that pull station. I always do this every once in a while. This takes a Allen key to reset. Actually, I'm very happy that these things got discontinued because Siemens kept making this style of pull station for a long time. They just recently, in the last couple of years, released a new style of pull station that finally resets with a key lock. In my opinion, pull stations that reset with a hex key or any screwdriver or something like that, that's more for like simple systems than conventional systems. Addressable devices should always reset with a key because, I don't know, that's just more sophisticated. Let's go ahead and actually reset the system now. Let's go ahead and test the smoke detector in the utility room. Here's another one of these Cerberus Pyrotronics conventional units. Fun fact, these all came off of the same system and they all got pulled out of a dumpster. Here's the back of it. As you can see, the model is PE11 and it's a Cerberus Pyrotronics unit. But let's go ahead and test this with our smoke saber. Oh, that was quick.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been recorded in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been recorded in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
As you can probably tell, that tone sounded a little bit clearer. I'm not really sure if the systems would actually sound like that because all of the Cerberus Pyrotronic systems that I've heard are pretty raspy. But either way, let's go ahead and reset the system. Before it gets too dark, I'm going to go ahead and test the outdoor devices. As you can see, it's the point when the sky is just about to fade, but it's kind of nice like this because the camera picks up the strobes better.
Reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevator.
This is the modern Siemens mail message. Let's go ahead and do the deck pull station. As you can see, it's starting to feel like fall. Of course, all the yard strobes are going off. And the beacon out front.
Do not use the elevator.
Let's go ahead and test the shed devices, or pull station. Let's go ahead and test the garage pull station over here.
have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
Oh crap, I did the thing again. Silly me, always forgetting to reset the pull stations. This again takes one of these Allen wrenches. So you just have to open it up, let it close, and then latch it back. Let's test the smoke/heat detector in the garage.
May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported in the building.
At this point, I'm going to go ahead and test the home smoke alarm interface. When I test this alarm, a relay should trip and set off the fire alarm system. So let me hit the test button. Before I do the functional test, I'm going to go ahead and test the CO portion of the system.
Attention, carbon monoxide has been reported in this area. Leave this area and move to fresh air immediately.
At this point, I'm going to go ahead and do our functional test.
May I have your attention, please? Emergency has been reported in the building. While this is being verified, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
As you can see, our little fog machine produced enough smoke to set off the smoke detector, and now this is going to go absolutely everywhere. Of course, the camera doesn't really pick it up that well, but now there is a haze in the air. If we go into all of the rooms, it's probably going to be in here very soon. I can definitely see it in the air. And of course, in this case, it's just a fog machine. It won't hurt you too much to breathe it in. But in an actual fire emergency, it's not just going to be a tiny little, flame that you could blow out. It's going to be thick, toxic smoke coming out of a very hot fire, and it's going to spread fast. It's going to be deadly, and it's going to be scary. So that's probably the most important lesson, is that passive fire protection is just as important as active fire protection. All these sprinkler systems, fire alarm systems, and whatnot, they seem like very obvious forms of fire protection, and they are important. but I don't discount passive fire protection like fire doors, fire dampers, things like that actually stop the spread of fire. Because no matter how much smoke there is in this part of the basement, this room will be clear because of this door. And inversely, if a fire was to start in this room, which is mainly what I'd be concerned about, this door will hold back the toxic smoke and fumes for quite a while. Also, when this door closes, suppose there's a fire in that room, the fire door will prevent oxygen and air from flowing through, and that can also help put out the fire or at least limit its spread. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching. This was the last system test before college. I actually can't believe in a couple days I'll be shipping off across the country, and in 1 month's time I certainly will not be filming a system test. Of course, as I've probably mentioned to you so many times that you're sick of me talking about this, I have pre-recorded system tests. I've been working hard throughout the year to get those out. So next month you will see a system test. Again, everything's been planned. Of course, in some cases, the system might not be fully updated because, of course, in the last year, I've done many expansions to the system. So if in a system test you see that the system doesn't seem quite updated, that just means that at the time I filmed it, that work hadn't been done yet. But other than that, thank you for always watching my system tests, and I'll see you in December. Take care.